Next, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Leslie Gertsch from NASA. Leslie?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Well, you've heard from some very experienced people and representing some very experienced companies. But let's step back for a minute and look around wherever you are. If you're there on the UTEP campus, if you're in your office or your home online, and think about how you would have to change your daily routine while still making your own personal contribution to society if the built environment that you're working in did not exist. What if there were no infrastructure for transport or communications or shelter or sustenance? So, creating and maintaining this particular infrastructure requires working with the ground, the dirt and the rocks that are there under our feet and will be on the moon or even on asteroids, maybe not quite under our feet, but then people have been doing that sort of thing, uh, working with the ground, building infrastructure. They've been doing it for so long that the rest of us often forget how important that is. We take it for granted about but we rely on it so much and we often forget that. Now, it can be very difficult. I don't have it to show you, but there is a cartoon that ranks the areas of physics by difficulty. It starts out with Newton's mechanics, which I'm sure you've all had in school, and then it goes up to special relativity that Einstein did, and then goes up even farther in difficulty to general relativity and quantum mechanics. But more difficult than all of that is dealing with a pile of sand because it's got all those physics in there, but they interact with the environment and what we're doing, and it's very difficult to predict. So, calling something dirty is not often meant to be a positive comment, but working with dirt and rock is the foundation of human survival, really, and thriving as well. Now, engineers can't always wait for understanding how dirt and rock behave all the way from basic principles, which of course is what physics would like to do. We have to make things work with whatever understanding we have at the moment. So we have to kind of jump in and try it. And of course, experience helps, as you've seen some really interesting examples here this morning of things that we can do. But even digging a hole in your yard to plant a tree is not necessarily a straightforward thing. So, because some of us can do the things that Caterpillar and Bechtel and your local construction contractor do, all of us can make our personal contributions to society more effectively. And we will need those same foundations to work and live in places other than the earth. Out there, we're going to have to dig, we're going to have to build things, and we're going to have to change the surface, just like we do on Earth, but not quite. We need to sustain ourselves in places that we're not physically suited to. So there will be some differences for that. It will be a lot harder, partly, as you've heard and you all know, because the working environment is so very different. And I'm not going to list what it is, you're all well aware of those, but also partly because our preconceived ideas are going to lead us astray. We live in this unidirectional gravity vector. We live in this wonderfully thermal blanket of atmosphere, but we will need to do it in order to move off this planet. And it's also likely that once we get there and start messing around and figuring out things the way they really are instead of how we expect them to be, that we'll figure out some things we can do better on Earth as well, because much will be different in space, but much will be the same. And that is not as easy as it might look. So if you're new to construction or excavation, but you have ideas, really cool ideas for doing these things in space, the first thing you should do is your research. Been a lot that's been done before. So figure out what that is. There might be reasons why it's not being done now, and maybe those reasons no longer exist, like technology has improved. and partner with some of these entities that you've heard from today, that have construction experience, that have excavation experience here on Earth. Like any professional trades and engineering, there are tips and tricks for actually doing things that you don't really see in the textbooks. Yes, and I do teach. Uh, and so that to get onto education, the people who are going to be most successful, I think, in going forward to doing excavation and construction in places other than this planet, is for education to do more than just put, say, an aerospace veneer on a dirt discipline major, or vice versa. Takes a true hybrid new discipline to make this work. Colorado Mines is starting that up. Missouri University of Science and Technology is coming along, but it's going to be something new and different, and it's going to be kind of exciting. So, and I also wanted to point out, Keith, that there's really not that much weird about innovation in construction. We just don't normally hear about it in the usual way of things. So that's all I had to say. Just look around, see what's been done, and look ahead to what needs to be done, but don't wait to understand it all before you get there. Get started somewhere and then fix the things that don't work. And that's it for me. Thank you.